Today we're going to replace the old tired mufflers on this '69 Corvette with a fresh set from Magnaflow. The model of muffler I'm going with are Magnaflow's universal straight-through muffler. Now, depending on your vehicle, you may or may not find part numbers that fit your vehicle directly from Magnaflow. However, lots of companies, including Corvette Central, will buy the core muffler from Magnaflow themselves and then simply weld on an inlet and outlet pipe so it bolts up directly to your vehicle. Now, obviously, if you have a custom exhaust, then this doesn't apply, but for me, it's a pretty simple bolt-on upgrade. Now, unlike baffled or chambered mufflers like the one that you see here, which are designed to target specific frequency ranges, usually the lower end to prevent drone, a straight-through muffler affects the entire sonic range, and this gives a more balanced exhaust note overall and offers more of a deep, throaty type of sound. They feature a straight-through perforated core, as the name might suggest, surrounded by steel mesh and acoustic sound deadening material. Overall, you get a deep, resonant tone from this type of muffler, and they sort of resemble the sound of a glass pack, if you're familiar with those. One interesting thing to note about this type of design is that it's very simple, and so the actual muffler itself is smaller than the typical baffled counterpart like you see in the stock muffler above. Now, installation on a simple bolt-on setup like I have here is pretty easy, but if you want to write up on that, I'll include a link in the description below. But without further ado, let's hop into the sound comparison. Pretty big difference, right? Alright, so let's hop into the car and see how it sounds to actually drive it. Alright, so I'm doing this with the windows up. Hopefully you can get an idea of what it sounds like at various RPM ranges. When you're off the gas, like, it's pretty tame. If you're giving it a little bit of gas, it's noticeable, but on this car, it's not too bad. And I think that really kind of speaks to, like, what is your build and what are you really going for? Like, this car doesn't have a cam in it. It doesn't have, heads. Doesn't have headers. It's got just stock manifolds. So ultimately, it's not going to be a very loud car. You know, even with straight-through mufflers on it, it's not going to be a very loud car, which is fine with me. You know, maybe I'll do that stuff at some point, but for the time being, it's a pretty tame build, and it runs great, and I think it sounds really good. You can definitely feel that kind of lower end, bassy kind of sound that this thing produces. And if I'm being really, really honest, like, if I wanted to have if I wanted to have like a hotter build, you know, would I necessarily use these mufflers? I don't think I would, honestly, because it's definitely got a lot of that lower end bassy kind of a sound to it, which I love, and that's the reason why I went with these. But you know, they drone a little bit. Is the drone significant? No, not really, not in this car. But if you were to do something a little bit hotter than this, then yeah, like it would get to you if you're driving the car for like 30 minutes or an hour or something like that. If you're going on like a nice cruise somewhere, and that, for me, like that would eventually get to me, you know, where you just feel like this kind of in the car.
for an extended period of time on like the highway or something like that, especially without an overdrive. Like, would I really want to deal with that? Honestly, no, I probably wouldn't. But for the build that I currently have, it's kind of like that nice sweet spot where it's got a good rumble, a good bassy note, and I think it sounds great, while at the same time not being overly obtrusive. I'm gonna roll the window down so you folks can maybe get a good idea of what it sounds like, mixture inside and outside. I like it. So overall, am I happy? Yeah, I am. I'm very happy with these. Would I recommend them? Absolutely. If you're going for a performance, like strictly performance, absolutely. If you want a nice, just good tone, I think on a stock build, if you want to kind of balance that out with the good tone but not overly loud, yes. But if you have like a hot street build, or I'll even dare I say a moderate build, and you still want to be able to enjoy it on the street, maybe go with something else. Maybe go with like a baffled muffler, if that's the case, right? So I think it really depends on what you want to do with it, and what is the sound and just driving that you want to go for. Anyway, I think that just about does it for me. Hope you enjoyed this. By the way, folks, less than 2% of my viewers are subscribed. So if you like this stuff, please give it a like. And I'll see you in the next one.